my question to you guys is, how does that make you better than the person who hurt you, than the oppressor who is oppressing you, or the thing that you're fighting for? How does that make you different? Hello. Welcome back to the Daily Humans podcast. I'm Nina.
I'm Ashley.
And your next therapy session awaits.
Don't worry, we won't charge you $180 an hour. This is free.
Oh, yes. The best type of therapy
as it
is
should
free
be.
therapy.
Mm-hmm. It should be. We don't pay for our problems, so
Yeah. That's a really good point,
should be
actually.
free.
That's a really
Thank
good
you.
point.
Thank you. I've always been on that kind of advocate side that government pays those that do psychology and counseling, and it should be free.
Yeah. I mean,
100%.
It makes sense when you think about it. The government causes so many problems in the world. They should probably pay for the therapy.
Wait, you just did that, didn't you? You just said that. You hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
Totally agree. Or, as kind of cliches is to say, the people that hurt you pay for your therapy.
Yes, just send them the check or the bill.
Yes.
Sorry, there's no checks anymore.
Yes. Imagine just getting something in the mail, like. Imagine just getting it in the mail of, hey, because you did A, B, C, and D, $180 is my therapy session. Sign here.
Yes.
You can't go to court. There's no conviction. There's nothing. This is what it is.
Yeah. Perfect. All the world's problems are solved. That would also mean less people to traumatize others because they know they would have to pay for it in the end. You know, it's a system that serves itself.
They would volunteer to go to therapy, you know, because they don't want to do it to someone else. So they're like, you know what? I'll just pay for my own and go to therapy because we're paying for changing the world.
Did we just solve the biggest problem on earth?
Honestly, you're looking at the new politicians, even though I'm in Australia and she's in Germany.
Yeah. Not much we can do about America right now, but you know, at least we'll be starting locally.
FYI, I've got some major allergies because we have heat here in Melbourne, Victoria right now. So my eyeballs are watering like a waterfall. So you're going to see me just casually. It's like the whole time throughout the video, just wiping my eyes. I'm not crying. Even though I'm so thrilled that Nina came up with such a glorious idea.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, it's rough out here for our eyeballs.
Yes, it is.
And pollen.
Yeah.
It needs a hobby.
Yeah.
Other than giving us hay fever.
So no worries.
Get a hobby, pollen.
She's not crying.
Nope. Crying on the inside.
Allergies are really, I feel like, getting worse these days. It's actually funny because on my end, it's been snowing.
She's in a full jumper and I'm in a t-shirt.
Yeah. If you guys are just listening to this via audio, I am in a very warm wool sweater and Ashley is in a very cool. I really love your t-shirt, but she's in a t-shirt.
You should show your jumper. Your jumper is...
It's a tiger.
Your jumper is cool.
Yeah, it's a tiger. How has life been going for you?
Oh, jeez. Well, since we are in therapy, let's do this. I'll just get my journaling book out. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
I have a drawer in front of me, and it's full of books, journaling books, and some dark chocolate to cope with writing in those journaling books. And a whole bunch of different colored pens, because sometimes as I'm journaling and I'm in that state of mind, I'm like, oh, I'll do green today.
Gotta match the emotions with the right color, right?
Exactly. I get so sick of just doing black. I get so sick of it. I'm like, I don't want to do black, red, or blue.
Yeah.
I'll do pink today. What are we journaling about? Fear? Great, let's do red.
Yes.
Touche. Yeah, it's been it's definitely been one of those if I say week, I'm saying week, right? But my mind's like, you mean years. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
When someone's like, how's your week been? And you're like, oh, it's been really challenging. And your mind's like, honey, that ain't a week. That's been your whole life. It's definitely been a reflection of a lot of the stuff that that we've been processing over the last few years. And I say we because I really want to mention this too as some context because we haven't mentioned it in our episodes yet. Nina and I have been on our own healing journey for a couple of years now. I've been on my healing journey for around 8 years now. How long has it been for you, Nina?
My entire existence, I'm not quite sure. No.
Sums about up.
I think I truly started being serious and getting deep with healing and really uprooting a lot of internalized stuff since maybe 2019, 2018. Not sure how long ago that is. 6, 7 years, something like that.
Yeah, we've been on our healing journeys for a few years now. So a lot of the discussions that we'll be having throughout our episodes will be based on life before healing and then life within healing and then obviously in present moment. So obviously being on the healing journey has come with a lot of things coming up, a lot of releasing, a lot of pain and a lot of going through trauma, as many of you understand, because many people are on a healing journey, that it's not linear and it goes every which way and you can't control what comes up. One day you're feeling like you could walk on the moon and the next day you just want to tell the universe not to reincarnate you back on Earth. So it's just like a full mixture of things, just to give a bit of context about what you're in for, basically. And that is what this week. See, again, my mind's like, no, not this week. You mean this whole 8 years. This week, I think the symbolism has continued on with releasing, I think, parts, just releasing old life. Let me just say it like that. Releasing old life, making some decisions on things we need to implement for ourselves because we are evolving and growing and building new foundations. So this week has been that. And you're nodding like you definitely relate. Is your week been unfolding like that too?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's been an exciting time to be alive.
We have spoken about it. We have before this podcast episode, obviously. But an exciting time to be alive when you're releasing your own life. I'm so excited.
Every moment.
Every part of you is so excited. Your inner child, your teenage self, they're like thrilled. Thrilled.
Yes, I think I told this to Ashley the other days. Stop talking. That's not what I said to Ashley. No, like, I keep saying, my brain says day, and it comes out as days, and it irritates me every single time this has been happening. Let me do this again.
Your brain's like, no, girl, this is what it is.
Yes, the last couple days have been quite thematic and cinematic and very fun to experience. But Ashley and I have had a lot of conversations recently, and I think last night I told her that sometimes being on the healing journey feels like you're going absolutely insane.
Yes.
Every single moment throughout the day, you feel a different type of way. And yesterday, we're recording this on the 11th of February. So we're still in February, which means we're still in the beginning of the year. But yesterday was Lunar New Year. And Ashley has said this to me before, where it's like a lot of the times, at least for both of us thus far since we've known each other, January feels a lot like the remnants of the year before. And for she's nodding her head like, oh yeah. You would not believe.
You would think it'd be celebration mode. You would think
Yeah.
that, right? You'd think the universe would be like, "Hey, celebrate New Year, come on!" But instead, you're again getting the red pen out. Writing journaling because this sucks. Sorry, my friend.
Yeah.
Continue.
No, no worries. A lot of people, from what I've seen online, actually get started with planning their new year in December, which I think is like big
Mm,
props to you guys. I think that that's great if you have the chance and opportunity to do that. I personally did not. And for me, the journey of figuring out what this year would be about started more so within, I would say, the second week of January this year. And so, having had this Lunar New Year, I truly feel ready to go now. I kind of feel like I already know what this year is going to be about, and it's going to be definitely a lot more intense healing, a lot more shadow working, and just moving through old ways of existing, old forms of identity that I had for myself. And that was definitely a lot to come to, a lot to get to, and I've been processing since
mm.
then, especially this last week. And it's an exciting time to be alive. I'll just say that again. I'll repeat myself because it's been a journey. It's been a journey. I say that almost in every episode when we talk about healing and fear and everything that comes up with the process of healing. But um it's worth it. That's what Ashley and I constantly talked about to each other. It's like when we're having the worst moment, we're just, oh my God, I can't do it anymore. We're just on the phone.
So
We're on
many of
the
those moments.
we're like, we have to do this. This is something that I've heard, and I truly believe in this. Like the harder it gets, I feel like that is right before the breakthrough. And that's
Mm,
kind of where I'm at right now, where it's like, for me personally, once I break through the wall, I'm in the in video game terminology, I'm fighting the big monster, the big boss right now. And once that's done, we can move forward into a better life, hopefully.
and I'm helping you fight it.
Yes.
Karate chop at its knees.
Yes.
I was going to say something else, but it had to be appropriate.
Yeah. For YouTube, yeah.
Yeah. Nonetheless, though, Nina is right. We've said it so many times that through the moments where we've repeated many times how exhausted we are and how tired we are, truly, we don't regret healing. I think when we both think about our past, like I know personally, I am thrilled to no longer be in those places. And even just like last year, I'm thrilled to be where I am now and who I am now, and not last year's version or the year before. Nothing, not as a stab to my past self, but just as I like moving forward in a way of new, no longer something that is continually cycled through the same bull crap. And that's not a swear word, I hope not. I
You're
changed
fine.
the last part. Just not the same cycles all the time. That's the one thing I'll say with healing. If I were to give one thing to all of you, is just living through the same cycles and the same mindset every day is such a stuck energy. It's such like all I can really say it as, you're just constantly on the spinning wheel and you're not getting off ever. You're just constantly doing that every day. And it's such a repetitive cycle. It's like waking up every day and doing the same thing every day. Just keeps going and going. So yeah, as sucky as it has been, healing and the loss of that and the grief and the fear of being this and the insecurities and feeling like you're the only person in the world and blah blah blah, I would definitely do it again.
Mm.
If I'm forced to come back down here, reincarnate, which you better not, and go through this again, I hope I sign that contract to heal again, which is not happening. But anyway, just in case.
Yes, I think that that is actually a really big moment to get to in your life where you kind of look around, you're like, you know what, despite all the hardship that comes with evolving or wanting to evolve and continue to get better, that I would still choose this path rather than another. And I think a lot of people call this a hero journey. I think in the spiritual community, I've heard that term being coined a lot, where it's like you need, you are the chosen one. You are the chosen one, my child.
Oh my gosh. I just
You
saw
are the
like
one.
everything just If I grabbed my ring light right now and put it on the top of my head, it would be a halo. Oh.
We are the ones that have been born in our generational line to undo the things, the the unhealthy habits, the unhealthy ways of being and existing in the world, to do better and to do more. And that comes with massive, massive responsibility, but it is one of the most special things that you get to do in life because you are
Yeah.
the main protagonist, not only in your life, but you are going to be the one person in that line of all the people that came before you that creates that massive change for future versions of possibly yourself when you reincarnate, but also for others and also for your future offspring if you decide to procreate. I say that as if we're like a science experiment, but if you decide to have children and pass along your genes to the next
Mm,
generation, they will have something better than what we had,
yeah.
than what previous people in our line had. And that is something that I think is one of the best and biggest opportunities in life that we get to receive. And so for you to get to that
Mm,
point, Ash, where you're like, you know what, despite the pain, I would still be who I am today. I would still choose to be the
yeah.
person that I am today and continue to move forward. That is
Yeah.
amazing. Let's all give a round of applause to Ashley.
Nina. That looks so wrong. I put my hands up a little bit higher.
Oh,
I think my
yes.
friend, something I said to Nina last year it was, and I posted on TikTok because I feel like other people needed to hear it too. I think Lena was going through a certain state where she was finding the healing journey very difficult. You're going off nothing. You have no foundation, you have no guidance. No one's telling you how to build it. No one's telling you how to do it. There's never been anyone to tell you how to do it. But yet somehow you know. Isn't that fascinating? That somehow you know what you need to do. You know where to start building, you know how to keep building it from literally nothing. And that's just proof that this is something that you are meant to do and you have to do for you, but also future generations as well, especially in, you know, our lineage, if we have children, if we move forward to more people coming into our lives, you know, it's kind of like this breakage of we're not going to do what we did in the past. It's time that society change in more than the physical way, but also the mental way that we approach human. And I think that's why people are so hesitant on it because a lot of people don't like change. And saying, hey, we need to start actually healing is such a like, what do I need to heal from? What are you talking about? That's when the checks start coming in the mail for the therapy bills. And people are really reluctant to it. Like they really just step back from it, from past stereotypes of healing. But the damage that it does, you know, Nina and I are almost 28. And the amount of times we've said to each other, I can't believe that we're at this age. And yet we still are having to process traumas that feel so like someone gorilla glued that crap. Like someone gorilla glued, and no substance, no cleaning product, no water is getting that off. It's just stuck there, right? We're having to do this at 28 and it feels never ending, all because of the unfoldings of society and people that we've come across in our lives, people that we've had in our lives, and also ourselves as well. 100% we take accountability where we need to. The harm that this has caused, like the humanity has caused each other, humans have caused each other. It's just the pain that we've felt in our journey is indescribable at times, and it's not worth a lifetime's worth of healing. So if we can stop people from having to heal their entire teenage 20s, going through their entire life with this crap, then we'll try to, because it's not something that we would have chosen for ourselves. I know that I'd say I'd choose it again, but only if things happen in my life where I'd have to, except for staying in that place of pain and cycled mindsets that just are built in by society and do nothing but keep you stagnant.
I love what you said. I love what you said, that people want change, but they are unwilling to look at themselves first to create that actual change, the long-lasting change. Because I don't know if I mentioned this, but it was Lunar New Year's yesterday. And with what I said earlier about, sometimes January ending up being a lot longer internally, or feeling like it takes a lot longer to get through January, also comes the whole fact with the whole new year, new me resolution journey. A lot of people cringe at this point with that term, but it's still around. People still want to change their entire lives, do better, have more goals, achieve more things throughout the new year. But a lot of the things that we wish to change are always external, when actual change happens on the inside, and then the outside world matches that.
Yes. 100%.
Yeah, and for me personally, this year started off quite interestingly, but I was like, okay, I want to get stuff done around the house. I want to, declutter and get rid of stuff I no longer need. I'm going to go through my closet. That was like my intention, because I was like, I feel invigorated. I feel like I know me. I got it. Like I really want to match the outside to the inside now. And then as I was cleaning out, I had a moment where I realized, as I was going through the objects that I was discarding, that it wasn't actually the thing that I needed to let go of. It was the person that I attached to the thing, the identity that I attached to the thing. So much of us as a society is internalizing a lot of the standards that the world tells us we need to have. You and I have talked about this a lot, Ash, where it's like, we need to be here at this age, but it goes so much deeper. It goes so much deeper, because not only do we identify with the roles in which we play for other people and what we should be and should be doing, we also identify with objects that are as if they are an extension of us, when they are just objects. They are not you. Anything that you can hold on to, you can let go of. And the same goes to your identity. And that was actually something I really wanted to dive into in my conversation today with you, Ash, because my gosh, when it comes to letting go of old versions of yourself, when it comes to letting go of past trauma, past pain, and all the fear that comes up with that, all the grief that comes up with that, it is so easy to lose sight of why it is that you're doing what you're doing. And so that's why I also think it is amazing what you said, that you would still choose this journey. And I kind of had to reflect on that for a second too, and be like, would I do the same thing? I don't know. Sometimes I do have the impression that it's better to be oblivious, to just kind of move your way through life and not have to think about how your actions affect other people. But also, I'm kind of glad to be here. Not quite sure if I have made a decision yet on the whole, do I want to repeat it? But
I have.
Definitely. Yes. But yeah, it's been a wild ride up until now. And so I'm saying all of this to bring it back to the point of, in order to let go or move into things that you wish to receive or have in your life, or whatever it may be that you're wanting to move towards, you have to let go first of the old. And that comes with a lot of different things. A lot of different emotions.
Definitely. I love when you speak. You just flow.
Thank you.
You're
I love when you
flowing.
speak too.
We're just going to spend the next couple of minutes complimenting each other.
Yes,
So here we
you're
go.
so
You
great. Like,
know,
oh
you're
my
so
God.
beautiful. Oh my
So are
gosh.
you.
Your
Like, look at your
jumper
hair.
is stunning.
Gorgeous.
With your hair and your glasses. Like I said in the last episode, you're sexy librarian. As always, you're right, my friend. And it is when you said that you'd rather you're thinking about rather remaining oblivion. Am I correct in saying that? Yeah.
Yeah, it's sometimes easier, it seems.
Definitely. Think about it. If we were oblivion to it, we wouldn't have to feel what it is to experience it and go through it and be aware of it. Here's the main thing, being aware of it and then having to process it and then finding groundedness in it and then potentially going backwards and falling back and then having to do it again and then, oh crap. And then, oh, crappy munches, falling back again and then coming back. This is the healing journey. It ain't linear. And then back and forward and back and then way back, like all the way. That's what it's felt like sometimes. It's like we're way down there. Hi, Ashley. Can't even hear you because I'm all the way back. I'm gone. It's what it feels like sometimes. And like Nina, I think a lot of people can relate. You kind of say to yourself in the many moments of it, I think I should just stop. I think I should just no longer continue with this because clearly I'm never meant to heal. Clearly it's never going to end. Clearly the world is just too much and everything's happening and it's too negative, it's too dark. And the more aware I become of it, the more harder it gets to actually find some kind of peace and acceptance in it. I know we've spoken about this before.
Yeah.
With everything that happens in the world, it's like, how do we step outside as these versions of ourselves now with the way that the world is, with the way that human beings are? Some human beings, I have to give benefit of the doubt, but the way some human beings still are. Ah, geez. Just stepping outside sometimes and going out, the situations of me leaving the house and going out as this version of me, the experiences I've had and I've told Nina about, I'll come home. I've come home before at 2 a.m. I messaged her, voice recordings. I'm just bawling my eyes out like, Nina, I can't do this anymore. I'm so over this. Da, 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 da. That's what's happened in so many ways because honestly, I'll step outside and it's just projection. And then you feel like a target. And it's like, am I healing? Is my healing just putting that energy out there that I'm some kind of target, that I'm some kind of person that, you know what? You see me walking down the street and you think, she really wants me to come up to her and just assault her. You know, she really wants this. Like, it's what it's felt like sometimes. That's another part of the healing journey, is feeling like it's attracting certain things in your life that it just, you feel like it's meant to push you way back and keep you there, or it's a test. And sometimes the test would piss me off. Like the constant learning lessons would piss me off. And I'm like, come on. I think how much more of a human being can I already be? You know, I think I'm already switched on enough. I think because it's too much sometimes. And I think Nina can relate to this as well, my friend. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah,
like you're not
absolutely.
even
I know you
evolving into
can.
a human being anymore. You're evolving into like a god figure, goddess figure, angel figure or something. It's like you're omnipotent everywhere all the time.
Proceeds to pull out ring light and put overhead like a halo. 100%. You kind of wonder, right, my friend, how much longer, like how many more to get to what? Maybe some growth in other areas that we need it, but it's kind of like, do I know how to speak to myself? Okay, yes. Even moments when I don't speak good to myself, I'm still aware that I'm doing that, and that's a priority. You have to be aware, right?
Yeah.
And then you think, do I know how to speak to other people? Yes. Can I take responsibility when I make mistakes? And can I take accountability if I make a mistake? Yes, I can. So it's like the valued things we have them, we're at that point. That's why we're doing what we did. That is why we did what we did, to also get to that point. So it's kind of like in the healing journey, you think, how much more do you think I need? Perfection standards don't exist. So where else am I meant to go? Exactly.
Yeah.
And then there's the thing of, I'll see it on TikTok and spirituality where they say you're forever growing and you're forever evolving. You're forever evolving. And I'm like, see, you wonder why I don't want to come back. Forever evolving, forever healing. Those moments have really got me at points. You don't mind growth, but it's this kind of pain that Nina knows and I know all too well that feels like you will not get out of it. Like it just feels, the best way I can describe it is like you feel like shackles are attached to sort of every part. Great example, actually. I've used this example before. The night before Christmas, Ebenezer Scrooge sees the ghosts that have all the shackles and it has big weights attached to the end of it, right? Some days it feels like you're carrying from head to toe just shackles, like holding you back, and you're like, I how am I going to take all of this off? Will I ever get to breathe and be at peace? And then let me say this other thing. And then you have people that say, I don't think you know what it's like to suffer. I don't think you know what it's like to go through these things because you have A, B, C, and D in my eyes. And because my eyes see what I'm seeing, you haven't gone through enough to be valid and accepted in this society. So I suggest you reevaluate and go through some more things, and then I'll validate you. When really I'm saying, I want you to go through what I went through, and then I'll see you as worthy. And then the next human being comes along and says the same thing. You haven't gone through what I've gone through. Well, you better go through it. And then you come back to me and I'll consider you worthy. Okay. So healing wants me to be perfect. And now you want me to experience everything in the world, every kind of suffering in the existence. Thank you. Thank you. You wonder why I don't want to reincarnate.
I think there are a lot of instances that I see these days where people compare each other's pain and trauma and experiences and trying to outdo one another. It's turning into a competition. And
Yeah.
I think that that is a very big issue because, like you said, you don't have to experience what somebody else is going through in order to be empathetic, compassionate, and understanding and try to create change for all types of pain, all types of problems to be eradicated, right?
Yeah.
And personally, I ended up a couple days ago going on a little bit of a doom scroll online regarding certain content creators and stuff, and it turned from people wanting to help into it turned from people wanting to help others into a hate train. And for me, it was always very interesting going into the comment sections of people who actually have valid reasons as to why they're doing what they're doing. And read the comments and be like, I'm so here for the hate train on so and so person. Let's slander them. And for me, it is very strange that this occurs when you say you're a person who stands for human rights, right? Because at the end of the day, everything is connected. And if you wouldn't want it done to you, why are you doing it for other people? And I hear a lot of people arguing, well, this person is actually really bad. But I'm like, if they're actually really bad, let's drown them out with actual love and affection and attention to our cause rather than sending them hate and giving them a video, a podcast episode, or time or energy spreading hate to that one individual when you could actually be leveling up and focusing on what it is that you're supposed to be doing that is actually helping, supposedly, right? Because this is the thing that I always find so interesting, the dichotomy of existing on this planet and then existing within yourself. We're all talking about making the world a better place, healing, undoing trauma, being a better and kinder generation, and yet we still have these moments and these people that think it's okay in certain environments to spew hate. And my question to anybody out there who's experienced this, who's been a victim to this, who's even done it, who's been a perpetrator. I've been on both sides of it in the past when I was a teenager, so I can relate. But my question to you guys is, how does that make you better than the person who hurt you, than the oppressor who is oppressing you, or the thing that you're fighting for? How does that make you different? If you use your energy, your time, and your soul on this earth to spew hate. Just a question. Just a question.
It's a good question. It's a lot of hypocrisy in my eyes. A lot online just showcase, even in person showcases it to an absolute T. The amount of people over the years of advocacy. I'm also, just to put that out there in context, I've been a mental health advocate since I was 17, but didn't fully dive into it until a lot older. But in the years of experience in that field, human beings are hypocrites. Truly. I know that it comes from certain things, I get it, but it's hypocritical to advocate for bullying, but then to be a bully. It's hypocritical to advocate for human rights and inclusivity, but then be a bully. You know, you're not being really inclusive then. You're not really including everyone in the factor. You just, to celebrate jumping on a hate train when you know how much suffering there is out there, and people know themselves what it feels like to suffer. So to jump on a hate train and validate that when you would be crying in your bed if someone treated you that way is incredibly hypocritical. People know what it's like. This is my point. People know what it's like. They know. They talk about it online. They talk about it in person. People go to therapy groups. People need EMDR. You know, people need really intense therapy for this stuff. And yet some of those people are also doing it back. Some of those people are jumping on and saying, so-and-so is such an ugly blah, blah, blah. It's just cycling anything to harm human beings. That's what we do. We cycle harm. And it's just consistently projection on each other. Online represents that. Where some potential teenager jumps on and thinks, I have free will to do this, to harm someone else. But I guarantee if something was personal to them, which guarantee it is, because every human being has something personal to them, if someone attacked that personal thing to them, they're human. They would feel something. They'd feel devastated. They'd feel insecure. They'd feel something that would not be a good feeling. So whether the bullies want to admit it or not, they've got something within them that is personal to them that would hurt if someone attacked that. And it's really just about knowing that. Why would you do it to someone else if you know yourself that it could happen? If we keep cycling this, if we keep it alive, then it could happen to anyone. It feels like a never-ending system. It really does. A never-ending thing. And there have been moments too, I'll say this as well, in my healing journey where I've thought about this too, and I've thought, I don't want to do it. I don't want to advocate for this anymore. I can't keep advocating for mental health when I see human beings do this. And I can feel myself getting emotional because seriously, what I see online, what I see human beings do, it's just like, what's the point of advocating? What's the point of telling people what's the point of advocating for bullying if that's all people do? If it's so easy for someone to jump on the train, the hate train as they call it, and say, oh yeah, let's just pick a random person, let's pick multiple, and let's just project, let's just make them feel so dehumanized, right? And then we'll put a post up on Mental Health Day and say, hey, let's advocate for mental health, let's advocate for suicide awareness. And the next day jump on a post and say, hey, you shouldn't exist on this planet because you don't meet the beauty standards. Because that's another thing. We continue illusions like beauty standards. Like someone made up a thing called legging legs, and I made a comment about that on my own TikTok. Legging legs. You know, we just keep implementing things to harm each other. That keeps a lot of us in therapy, and that makes a lot of us question, what's the point? Because it seems that people just want to be in pain. It seems that people want to suffer.
Oh yeah.
just so they can compare it with someone else and say, hey, I suffered more than you. And I get that suffering can feel so comfortable in some sense, because that's another topic.
Yeah.
Comfort, and I've spoken about this before, where depression can feel so normal because you've been through it for majority of your life. So what else would you know, right? Suffering can feel comfortable. It can feel like, well, it's my life, so I'll just accept it, right? Suffering is not normal. I don't believe for a second that anything that is happening in our society is permanent and that it has to happen. I think human beings are creating it and continuing it. So I don't think anything that you think is normal within that is real. It's just purely out of acceptance. That's what we do. We accept things because we don't want to deal with it, or we don't want to look at it. We don't want to acknowledge it. We also just think, this is life. Let's just deal with it and do it to each other. Which is also why I don't even know if I want children, because of the way this is. Imagine bringing children into this world where they have to deal with this crap. Because it is crap. One day we might have to be paying for their therapy bills because them going to school and dealing with bullies, children bullies who are getting it from their bullying adults. And I'm having to tell my child, this is a projection. It has nothing to do with you, and having to tell them that over and over again. But we both know, you and I both know, just like other people know, how heavy it feels to be projected on like that, especially if it's something personal to you, you know? It's such a big topic, and it's major. Like, I don't think people see just how deep this goes. Putting a word out there isn't just a word. You're starting a whole ripple effect, and we said that in the last episode. So
Definitely.
yeah.
I think a lot of people, there is the saying, misery loves company. And it's true. A lot of people are happy being miserable and passing that on to other people. Not just depression, but
100%.
anger, resentment. Those are things that can be healed when you address it. But if you say you're healing and then you go into moments where you find that there is an acceptable, I say that with quotations, acceptable hatred to pass on to somebody else, where it's like everybody's opinion, there's like a celebrity that everybody hates. So now you're jumping on that, and it's like you're continuing the same cycle. That person is no different from you. And the thing too with what Ashley said about there's something in you that would be sad if it happened to you. What is it about whatever you're triggered by that reflects within you? That's another good question to ask, because you wouldn't be triggered, you wouldn't be angry if it didn't have something to do with something going on in your life or inside of you, or whatever is going on that you have not addressed. There's nothing in the outside world that can trigger you if you have acknowledged certain aspects in yourself. What is it in you that is being triggered by this moment where you have to unleash or let go or hate or whatever it is that's coming up in you towards that other person? Because from all of my learnings, even from myself, from studying myself, I have legitimately whole notebooks just on me, things I've analyzed about myself. I have noticed that majority of the time when I'm triggered by something outside of myself, there's something inside that is attached to that. And so next time when you have, I think Ashley, you talked about this before too, where it's like some people judge other people by their appearance, like celebrities. Oh, she had a bad vibe, and then they go on a hate train with that. It's like, what is it in you that got triggered there? What is the attachment there? Because you can accept somebody not having a good vibe or you not being comfortable around them in if you share spaces with each other without having to get to the point where you hate on them. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to send that energy towards them. You can just be like, okay, that's that person. It's not my lifestyle, not my thing. And I'm just going to be over here and do my thing. But people really love communal hate. That's what I coin it. Communal hate, because it's a whole community that you're building off of that. And it's not normal. It really is not. And I'm very sad that we do live in a world where it has become normalized, where we just accept things. Because, Ashley, like you said, it's easier to understand. People accept it rather than wanting to change it, because changing it actually means looking in the mirror and really looking
Yeah.
down at every single particle within yourself that's contributing to the whole, that's not working out. And because
Mm.
it's so easy to blame society, so easy to blame the government. But what are we doing to elect these people? Why
Yes.
are these
You're
people
right.
still in power? What are we doing to change that if we don't like
Mm.
something, or if we have something, a situation, as anything truly that we
Mm.
don't like, we have the power to change. And I think this is something that I
Exactly.
definitely need to hone in on. The world has the tendency to make us feel powerless about so many different things, where we feel like we can't change. And
Yeah.
then not only has that been indoctrinated into schools, but then society repeats that in these behaviors where it's like, well, it just is with the way it is. I hear that all the time. It is the way it is. I am the
Yeah.
way I am.
It is what it is. Yeah.
It is what it is. Exactly.
That's their
It
favorite
is not the
saying.
way it is. It's not the way it is, actually. It's all an illusion.
This is who I am. Please accept it.
Yeah, like, you're refusing to take accountability for something that you can change. And I'm not saying everybody's in a position where they can like up their life and like do all these different things due to, you know, social standing, roles that you play. I know a lot of people have a lot of responsibility, but you also have the responsibility as a soul on this planet to do better and to be more and do more with your time, rather than just live at the bare minimum of what life has to offer. And I will up that and say, so many people on the internet these days is like, he's giving you the bare minimum. You shouldn't accept that. Why are you accepting it with yourself? Why are you accepting it with other people? Why? Why if you are
I
not
am.
willing to accept the bare minimum from a man, why are you accepting it within yourself? I'm just asking for a friend. I don't mean to attack anyone.
All the friends. No, there's no attack here. Even if
Yeah,
people feel that way, that's a personal thing that's coming up. But essentially
right.
it is we're speaking from knowing what it feels like to be
Yes.
on that end of the being projected on. And we're both pretty damn tired of it.
Hmm.
We're both pretty damn sick of it.
Yeah.
And the lack of accountability, which we know where it comes from. We know where the fear of seeing one's mistakes and the fear of actually reflecting in the mirror comes from, Which I just want to say this quickly because I was meant to say it before to you, but when even we were talking about healing, I thought of this the other day. Our generation is just kind of starting things off, like
Yes.
just starting to build these foundations. So of course it's going to be difficult because then now we're going up against a society that potentially finds it really hard to change and thinks that this is just woke, that
Mm.
anything expansion of a human is woke and just a bunch of whiny snowflake. Where are these labels coming from?
Liberals.
Because it definitely ain't the dictionary. Oh, just
Oh,
some woke kind of culture when it's just growth, it's expansion on what's human. And
yeah.
people are so sick of trauma and pain, and they've had to normalize it so much because to cope. I know so many people, and even people in my own life from the older generations, that have just had to come to acceptance of their pain and their trauma and where things are at because there was no other option. And people consider that to be normal, that you're here on this earth just to suffer and accept that someone's going to hit you and you have to say thank you and there's no consequence, that we're just here for that and that's it. There's no expansion. Maybe that we don't do that. Maybe we stop suffering and figure out ways to breaking these cycles.
Mhm.
When you're a starter in that cycle, when you're starting off as the breaker, not just within family, but within society in general, it's also what makes healing incredibly difficult because you're going up against so much you're going up against so much. Even saying what we're saying, people might be reluctant to hearing it. They might start projecting, or they might say whatever they want to project or whatever like that. But again, we're tired of it. We know people are tired of it. And we both know that there's a possibility to be a version of you that doesn't continue these cycles. Because Nina and I could have easily been that. Oh, we could have easily been that. We could have easily been projectors. We could have easily followed that pathway of hating online and pulling every Tom, Dick, and Harry down. We could have easily done that. Hey, we have every reason to in so many ways. It's happened throughout our entire lives since we were children. 100%. There was, I think you can agree, there's just no reason for us not to. Change course, change career course. But we knew better without even knowing better, because we know what it feels like.
Yeah.
We don't want to do to others what was done to us. And that's like the most said sentence, but it's true. Why would we want to become those people that jump on the hate train, that continue bullying, that has many of us burying our friends and our cousins, and even ourselves contemplating whether our existence should continue happening because of the way humans are, the way that humans keep continuing this this crap. We chose better because we knew that it was open to us and we could try, even if it didn't feel like it sometimes. We've been trying ever since, and we keep trying and we keep doing it. And that's also why we're here today.
We say this with compassion. I can be a bit confrontational with these type of topics because I think it does require a certain, firmness sometimes, but at the end of the day, this does come from love, and it does come from compassion and wanting to bring across that you can move through these phases in your life, not needing to be as hard as everybody makes it out to be. Like in the world that we live, at least from what I've seen, what I felt, I feel like a lot of times people are like, yeah, let's go, let's do it now, immediately. Like there is such harshness and unforgiveness with it. And it's like, we're a human, we live in a society that's so complicated, so flawed. And yes, a lot of people have become have made it a comfort, have made it a crutch to exist that way, to be attached to bad habits, bad ways of being, bad ways of living, bad people. And then the people who do want to create the change, the people who are in their healing journey, their hero journey, they have to face the brunt of that, of everything, not just themselves, but also the rest of the world. And so I want to dial it back and bring it back to a moment that I had several days ago, because it really correlates to what you said, Ash, where it was like I got so overwhelmed in the midst of everything that I was personally going through in my own life, with wanting to heal and wanting to let go of bad people, grieving the loss of bad people, which, by the way, is also very much a thing. You can let go of people who are bad for you and still be sad. But
All of the
also,
above.
yes. But also, I just had a moment where I was laying in bed and I was like, what's the point? Like, everything is an illusion. Every single thing in humanity. And this got triggered personally. This is going to be really funny for a second. A little bit of lightheartedness and education for those who don't know. I watched a video on YouTube talking about fashion brands, like really luxury high-end fashion brands, and how majority of the material that they use are not any different than the ones that you get from cheap end stores like Walmart in America, or I'm not sure what that would be in Australia, but over here, like no-name brands, there's no difference in the quality. They just put a different name on it, and it's all about branding. And
Yeah.
that also goes into self-improvement. How are you branding yourself? And it's like,
Yes.
but what is the material about? What is the quality? How long can it last? Because if it's just the name, if it's just the brand, that can only get you so far, and you're going to fall apart at the seams, essentially. And All these metaphors that are coming to me right now. But no, I learned that and I was like, not only is that a fact, but also that actual wealthy people don't buy designer things. They're actually marketed to the middle class and the lower class so they can feel like they're rich or wealthy and give that image
Yeah.
out. Because I've heard, and anybody who's watching this, listening to this, you guys can comment on this if this is true in where you live and in your country. But I've heard that there are people who don't get job opportunities unless you have certain brand name of clothes, if you look expensive, let's say. Um, and that was assaulting to hear. I have to be honest, because I was like, wow,
Yes.
you're denying a human being's right to fend for themselves and their family by the clothes that they wear, by the way that they look. And not only that, do wealthy people not even buy this stuff? They have a completely separate label. So these really like high-end fashion brands, they have like a secret label for actual wealthy people, where Mark
Yeah.
Zuckerberg was used as an example, where he has his gray t-shirt that he tends to wear. It's cost
Yeah.
$14,000. $14,000 for a t-shirt. And I'm just like, it made me so mad because there's a bag called a Birkin and that's
Wow.
$60,000. And I'm like, there is a bag that costs $60,000. And yes, people are going to listen to this. Oh, you're just jealous. I'm not jealous. I don't need a bag for 60 grand. I'm okay. But think about it. If one of those people that could afford that bag actually gave that money to a community or people in need, or somebody's family that could use a home to live in or a car to buy to get to and from work, like all that money could be used for something so much more valuable and fundamental and important and life changing than just a bag. And it made me mad because I had to step out for a second and I was just laying there and I'm like, everything is an illusion. And those rich people who buy the brands that have no labels on them use it to impress other rich people. And I'm gonna just, so it's all just wanting to appeal to each other and trying to make each other seem important. That seems like an insecurity issue to me. But that's just
Yeah.
me. And so I'm just thinking, right? If the world and the things that it tells us is all an illusion, what's the point? That's kind of where it got me to. Like, what's the point? Because
Mm.
I can't dismantle all of these issues. And there are so many issues in the world. And I know that a lot of people get to this point where they have compassion fatigue or burnout, or where they're like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I can't
Yeah.
advocate for this anymore. Because it's like when I'm advocating for one thing, there are these 5,000 other things that are correlating with this one thing that I'm standing up for and supporting that are not in line. And then people use it as a competition. And then we're
Yeah.
comparing each other's trauma. And in the meantime, nothing gets solved. And that is the point. It's made to make you feel hopeless and helpless, but you have power. You have power. You can absolutely bring change to the world with what you do and what you say and how you speak. But it starts with
Mm.
yourself and it starts by letting go of all that crap. And my gosh, is that an avalanche that falls when it does. Oh,
I completely agree. Nina's wisdom.
it's
That was
insane.
really good. Yeah.
Thank you.
You hit the
And
nail on
that's
the head,
called The
like,
Dark
as
Night of the Soul,
always.
by the way. Dark Night of the
Mm.
Soul, 101.
Which can happen more than once,
Yes.
which I didn't know until recently. I gotta love the spiritual side of this stuff, being like, you can have multiple Dark Night of the Souls.
Yes.
That is such a glorious thing to find out. That just made my whole year. I am now going to think about all the other moments that I'm going to go through another one. Uh, that gets tiring too. It all does. Sometimes. It really does. Healing,
Yeah.
the whole thing, the whole shine. But as Nina says, and as I was saying through the thing with compassion, you can understand where a lot of this comes from. You know, survival mode has been always, I think, a part of humanity. And a lot of people have just been about that. I mean, I think one example is like the bystander effect. I think that's one example. Not knowing how to react. I think that's a great example in where survival mode really just thrives. That, and also competitions and comparison and anything that's a thief joy in a lot of ways, because people are probably afraid to be happy, or if peace can actually be a reality, because everything feels like survival mode. Money, grocery bills, petrol, you name it. All of that in the way that, and actually, let me say this thing too. I notice as well the repetitive conversations about it. And I found myself doing it too, where we're just constantly focused on the petrol. Is it going to rise? Is it going to fall? And it's all we ever talk about. It's expensive. And I do this too, 100%. Not a fault. Nothing we're saying is like this fault. It's just awareness, you know? I do this too, where it's kind of like you just consistently say, it's so expensive. It's so expensive. It's so expensive. Everything's expensive. Groceries are expensive. And then it brings on this energy of doom and gloom. And it's not about playing ignorant to it. It's not about that. It's just we cycle through it constantly. Oh, this is high in price. This is that. It's always like a negative correlation. This is what I'm finding. And it's just proof again of how much society is in survival mode. And it's not about a blame game too. Like we can't blame ourselves in so many ways, because the government and so many systems in play have made it deliberately what it feels like. And I do believe it, deliberately have made it to continually be a survival mode. Because it's just, some things just don't make sense, but that's for a whole different topic in general. But I know there's a lot of things that can go against us from even finding some kind of groundedness and peace, you know? But if there's one thing I'm going to say through spirituality, but not even just spirituality, but through healing, is that you kind of know that that's happening around you, but you get to a point where you can be grounded even with the chaos. As unreal as that sounds, because if you had said that to me before, you know, spirituality and healing, I definitely would not have believed you. I would have thought that's not possible for me. That's possible for other people maybe, but not for me, right? But for someone that has never had peace and actually starting to experience it when everything around me is chaotic, and maybe people around me are chaotic through their own issues that they're facing in their life, and still being able to be grounded in my own feet, it's just proof that it is possible to get to a point of, I guess, inner peace, like in Kung Fu Panda. Inner peace. Yeah. And let me just say that's a big topic within itself. There's so many more conversations to that. 100%. I'm not just saying this as like that's just it. You know, no. There's many more conversations to everything that we say. Even in future episodes, there will always be more to the conversation.
Yeah.
Right? We're not just saying what we're saying as the it in a bit. But yeah. There's compassion there with what society, what generations, I'll say this. There's compassion for what generations have been through and what they had to go through, and how they had to find some space in their life to feel some kind of contentment amongst everything that was going on, and then continually passing that on, because everyone thinks that we have to just be okay with survival. We have to be okay with suffering. We have to be okay with it because it's life. This is what life is. Yeah, that's definitely where there's a lot of compassion for what past generations, our ancestors, went through, and what has unfolded and continued unfolding in our society from where we are now. A lot of healing.
It's a big topic to discuss, and honestly, there's so many branches to this conversation.
My left ear just blocked, and my right ear just started ringing so loudly. And my ancestors, they were happy by what I said. I validate you.
The thing too that I thought about as we were talking, Ashley, is like Ashley a while ago said to me that this is like a board game, a game of life. And I think in society, many of us have heard that right now is the most peaceful time ever in existence, you know, and I have a lot to say about that in and of itself because it's like, if it is so, right, and we know how much damage the past generations have gone through in trying to survive so many different ways of living and being existing, wars, you know, poverty, uh, familial trauma, lead
Mm,
poisoning, all these different aspects of
yes.
life that they had to experience. And we are now in the most peaceful time. And thus, we are creating these changes. We are addressing these topics where we need to start changing and enacting that change and addressing our own hypocrisies within our own communities. But also, you see what happens? Another war is being created right now, currently. More fights are being fought. And it's like, this is what I mean when it comes to even your own internal self. Right when you're about to make the breakthrough, you will hit a wall, but you have to keep going. You have to break through that wall because then
Mm,
the old can actually leave. And like I said, the outside world is very much connected to the inside world. And people can look at this and hear this and be like, oh, that's a really general statement, but it is the truth. We have so many old systems that are currently trying to fight back against this change that's happening. But we have
yeah.
to keep the fight alive. We have to keep advocating for ourselves and for our needs and for the right fight in order to get behind and get into this new era of living that would be best for ourselves. And that can only
Mm,
happen when we look at ourselves first, when we cross the barrier of what we've known into the unknown. And the unknown can be so scary, it can be petrifying. Like I said in the beginning of the episode, sometimes I feel like I'm going insane because, like, one minute I'm
yeah.
crying, the other one I'm like, yay! But the fact is, it's part of the journey. You have to do it.
Yeah.
It's part of it. It is. As much as I hate saying that, you have to go through the valley of the unknown. You have to go through the phase of uncertainty. And right when you're really being put to the test, as much as I know, Ashley, you hate this too, you hate universal tests, but when you are being put to the test, you have to stick to what you've learned in the time since you've healed. You can't revert back to the old self, even when you feel like you're all the way back, as Ashley said earlier, even when you feel like you're right there at the beginning stage of your healing, or right when that one particular thing hit when you were a child and you're experiencing all of that come back up in a moment. You have to stick to what you've learned and treat people the way that you wish to be treated, even when you get annoyed with yourself about it. I have
Yes.
that personally when I'm like, I am so nice,
Yeah.
I can't do this anymore. Like, I have to be evil right now. Like, but
Yes.
no, I can't, because it would be reflecting my character. I would
Yeah.
let you get the better of me, and I cannot do
Yeah.
that. And we cannot let old systems that are outdated and not for human life
Yeah.
continue to control us as a society, as individuals, as a community of the earth. And it is not about, it's not about, I saw it.
Sorry, I just knocked. No, no, I just. Sorry, my
It's
friend, you're
okay.
probably gonna have to repeat that.
No. It was at a good time. You did it perfectly. It is possible. It is absolutely possible for you to break through and have that moment for yourself and for us to live a better life. And to just interject this real quick, something that I've learned, and I'm hoping maybe it can help somebody out there who feels like, well, where do I begin? What do I do? Because all I hear about is journaling and like changing your environment. But how do I actually start with myself? There are resources out there. If you think that therapy would be helpful for you, please seek it. There is no judgment in seeking it. I know in a lot of communities there's still some stigma surrounding that, but you are absolutely valid to be heard, to be seen, to be recognized, and to have your concerns and the things that you want to heal through be addressed. That can be through typical therapy, like stereotypical therapy. I don't know if that's the right traditional therapy. Let's use that one. Traditional therapy, or it can be done through somatic healing, shamanic healing, all of that, whichever is the right
Oh
path
yeah.
for you. And another thing, when it comes to change, just like healing, it is not linear. And there are multiple, sometimes when you've noticed, if you are on the journey of healing, there are multiple selves that you're letting go of. There are multiple past identities that you're letting go of. And it can be sometimes hard to continue on in the path of, who am I moving into? What am I moving forward to if I don't see it around me? You know, I don't have anybody in my circumference that can show me what a healthy relationship is like, or what a healthy person is like, or healthy behavior is like, or healthy friends. It is so hard when you're in that type of situation. But please try and seek a mentor, try and seek some kind of visual or a person, or even just habits of one particular person that you like, that you wish to adopt, and try to evolve on that, expand on that. Forming a new identity is not easy for yourself. Letting go of old identity is not easy, but it is possible, and you can build it up for yourself, and you don't need to listen to so many people. That's something that I personally struggle with, where it's like, oh, well, I heard that person say this online, but it's like, does it feel right in your soul? That's all it comes down to. Does it feel right? Does it feel like, if you were to follow through, would you feel content in that? That is the only thing that I would recommend for you guys. Seek, explore. This is your life, and you are powerful. You listen to me. You are very powerful.
You say it. You tell them. With your gentle, kind self. There is an app called there are a few apps now that have been released from people online that have released, like there's support apps. Her Help is another one that I came across, and it's a supportive app. Put my phone back. For those that just generally want to seek support from people who are willing to give guidance and hear you. You may even find people that resonate with what you're currently going through. And I know that is really helpful sometimes when you're in a certain space. So there's a few things out there now, thankfully, that have been created from people who wanted that space themselves. And see what I mean? They could have chose to do something. They could have chose not to do that, but they did, which is just very grateful for that, because I did actually sign up to Her Help to see what it was like, and it looked pretty supportive. So recommendations out there, definitely.
Yeah, there are people in communities waiting to receive you, hear you, see you in your fullness of being, and you will be safe there. And it will be hard to dismantle all of these monumental shifts within yourself, because there will be moments where you need somebody else to be there. So if you can access even just one person where you can feel safe to go to them when you're going through these times of evolution, not just in the world and the things that you stand for and fight for, but also within yourself, and that will make a world full of difference, truly. So having that said, and having had this amazing discussion with you guys, while it is such a major topic, like Ashley mentioned earlier, and there will be more aspects of this in later on episodes, I'm sure, because like I mentioned, this is such a multifaceted conversation, but we're going to leave you guys here for now and just send you guys a lot of love. Know that you have a community with us. If you want to comment down below or reach out to us, we're here at any point in time. We'd love to give guidance or just hear you out, hear your opinion, your story. And that would just be wonderful.
Kindly.
Yes, kindly. Kindness with boundaries, okay? Don't forget. But yes.
100%.
I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful evening, day, or night. And that reminds me of the Truman Show. Good morning, good evening, and good night. And thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much, friends. Until next episode.
Yes, we'll see you there. Bye, guys. See you.
Bye.